Hi, welcome to Creative Wife Life. Okay, so if you just watched my last video, I wore this exact same shirt. I promise you, I washed it and then just put it back on. It's one of those good oversized shirts that were like $5 and you can just wear it all the time. Guys, wanted to talk a little bit about my homeschooling journey. I've been getting some emails and some questions about homeschooling and what we did and what curriculum we're using, how we started. I'm just gonna do a quick walkthrough on our journey. Are you guys enjoying my background today? It's different. Okay, so where do I start? First and foremost, I actually did not want to homeschool. My husband wanted me to homeschool, and oh, sorry, this is like in the frame. So my husband wanted me to homeschool, and I did not want to homeschool. I fought it for a long time, and then the Lord really worked on my heart and opened up that desire. So I naturally like to plan. I naturally like to see things happen in a schedule format. That is me. I love that. I love to do it. So I went right into homeschooling kindergarten in 2016. And, for those of you guys that don't know, my daughter's an only child. And I went right in with scheduling the mess out of everything, ordering all these things off of Amazon, creating schedules, starting at 7 a.m. till 12 or whatever I did, I forget now. I posted it up on Instagram, talked about it on my YouTube channel, and quickly discovered that, within like the first week of school, I discovered that wasn't necessarily the ideal way of doing things for my particular family. So I like schedules, I like it, but it didn't always work. So I really relaxed on my homeschooling style. So I would say I'm definitely a relaxed homeschooler, more than I am a traditional homeschooler. And when I say traditional, I mean like traditional in terms of getting up at the same time every morning, sitting at the desk and getting bookwork or online work, and breaking for snacks or lunch, like that kind of thing, where it almost feels like you're sitting in a brick and mortar school. I know I'd function very well in that. I grew up in public school systems. I have a bachelor's degree. I've always been in public school. So I have nothing bad to say about that, because that's what I know. So I thought that would work for my daughter and me, but the key thing is that it just didn't work for my daughter Riley, and it just didn't work for me either. So I ended up being just more relaxed in my approach with how I schooled Riley. So what I did for kindergarten was that I actually put a lot more work in then than I do now, just admitting it, just putting it out there. I actually did a lot of research, and every week I pulled lessons from Teachers Pay Teachers or Pinterest or whatever resource in order to try to fulfill some standards for her, but also try to excite her and get her genuinely interested in learning. So I did a lot of art, because my daughter is obsessed with art and creativity and cutting and pasting, but what kindergartner isn't, right? But she's obsessed with it. So I did a lot of arts and crafts the first year in kindergarten. I think I did a craft almost every day for a long time. And I did a lot of music, a lot of music. So we learned a lot through music and crafting. Did I use online programs? I didn't use any online programs at all. I just pulled everything offline, Pinterest and all that stuff, and paid for my Teachers Pay Teachers stuff. And I created my own worksheets and all that stuff in order to try to fulfill what I thought she needed to be fulfilled. I did a lot of workbooks, like DK workbooks, I think that's what it was called. I ordered an excellent book called What Your Kindergarten Needs to Ice Cream Truck. So What Your Kindergarten Needs to Know, I recommend that book. I cannot recommend it more. I would show it to you, but it's in storage. So those are what your first grader needs to know, what your second grader needs to know, third, and so on and so forth. That book was awesome because it gave me more ideas, and that's when we started learning more about poems, and we did a whole unit on that, and all from that book, just giving me ideas. So I basically picked, handpacked my curriculum for the whole of kindergarten. Again, we were residing in Connecticut, and Connecticut is a very, how do I say, laid back state. They don't require you to write in or do quarterly reports or anything like that. You are given the responsibility to educate your child to how you feel that you should educate your child. So that was a great way for me to start. Yes, I gave myself a lot more work in kindergarten, but came first grade, I kind of learned that I don't have to give myself so much work. So in kindergarten, I sat with Riley every day as she did her studies. Even though we were relaxed, I still planned every day what she was to do, so it gave me some peace of mind. But again, I didn't fret if she didn't start right at 9. I just said, okay, she'll get it done at 12. That became okay for me, and especially in first grade. Halfway through first grade, I really decided to try to teach Riley how to be more independent, so I didn't sit beside her as she did her schoolwork. I just stepped away, and I let her govern her own time and pick up her books and do what she's, and you know what, that was the best decision, because now she's able to do that more easily without me being over her. So first grade, we still didn't do anything online, not one thing. I moved away from consistently and constantly going on Pinterest and Teachers Pay Teachers in order to find worksheets to supplement this lesson or teach her this way, and I went really more into workbooks. I did a lot of workbook styles where every day she would be assigned something in a workbook, something in language arts, something in reading, something in something. We did a lot of units. So what I mean by that is that for the month of March, we would learn about the planets. For the month of April, we would learn about spring and flowers and different kinds of flowers and photosynthesis and stuff like that. For the month of September, we would learn about fall, and we would do poems on fall and stories on fall, and we would do leaf rubbings. I worked very well with unit studies for kindergarten and first grade. We did that a lot. Moving on to second grade, we are still in Connecticut, and I have moved away from hovering over her at all. She's very independent. In the mornings, what I would do is I would have a list ready for her, and she knows exactly what to do. She'd hop from one subject to the next, and she'd ask me questions if she needed. And then at the end of the day, we would stop and we would read a book together, something like that. I would give her free time. I wouldn't plan her crafts anymore. I'd give her free time, and she would get glue and paper and pipe cleaners or popsicle sticks. I would make sure and stock up on that at the Dollar Tree, and she would use that, and she would have a really good time. So that's kind of how I remember doing second grade with her. We still worked a lot on workbooks, and I would print off worksheets if I felt like she needed extra work on something, especially math related. I would print off extra worksheets, and then she'd work on that maybe in the morning. Our scheduling would still be there, but yeah, we would wake up and we would do our breakfast and our chores, and then she knows she'd kind of get through her day via routine. Third grade. Okay, so we just finished third grade. So moving into third grade, I was very determined that her mornings would be a little bit more structured. So second grade, we moved away from having as structured and went into really relaxed before we start our school day. But I was determined. So what I did is in the mornings, I set up these lists that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I just they're like pocket lists, and I just wrote some to-dos. So every morning she had two kinds of lists. She had one list what that she would do before she even started her homeschool morning. So she would, pray, get dressed for the day, brush her teeth, I think was eat breakfast, stuff like that she knew to do. And the second list, it was a pre-homeschool list, before she even started her traditional homeschooling or online work. And I ordered these books, and I ordered them before third grade. They're amazing. But they're daily books, Evan Moore daily books, and I cannot recommend them enough. They're great to do from kindergarten up with your kids. If you do like something like a morning basket, which I know a lot of people do, they have a bunch of books in a morning basket and they have all these cool toys and games just to kind of have their kid do and get their hands in for like the first 30 minutes of the day or so. I think that's a great idea. And that's a great addition to me, in my opinion, the daily Evan Moore books to do at the end of your morning basket, if that's what you do. So what I did is, after her chores and all that stuff, I did another list where she would write down a scripture. She would do her Evan Moore daily books. She would do, it's been a while because things changed when we came to New York. So yeah, do that. And she did that solidly every day for like 6 to 7 months. She did that, and it was phenomenal because it gave me a chance to get up and orient my stuff, get my water, get my coffee, and she was ready. Like, she was doing her stuff. So it kind of gave me a breather, and it also gave her direction. Okay, so we did this, no online. I'm looking to see what I want to call them. Spectrum books. But I've talked about Spectrum books a lot. If you look on my Instagram, or if you just look throughout any of these videos, I'm telling you, I talk about Spectrum books a lot. Then I did the second unit of A Well-Trained Mind. I love that book. And then I did, those are the main books: Spectrum, Well-Trained Mind, and Evan Moore are the ones that I did. And then moving into January, before January even came, before I knew that we were for sure coming to New York, and I knew that our lives were going to be changed, and I knew that I would be helping my girlfriend out with her 4 kids in homeschooling, I knew that I wanted to transition Riley into some online learning to help with science, to help with some social studies. And it was important to me because I needed those things to be covered, and those things are not my forte. Music and math and language arts and art, those things are my forte, but science and social studies, yeah. So I know I needed some help, so I transitioned her into time for learning. So as she was transitioning, and as she first started, January, February, around there. No, I'm lying. January through April. She was doing time for learning, and she was also supplementing with the daily learning of Evan Moore and Well-Trained Child, and the Spectrum. So she was still doing it all. So she was doing online and books at the same time, and I would plan it for every day. So I would say, you're only going to do 5 lessons for online, and online split up between math, language arts, social studies, and science. So I would say, okay, you're going to do 2 math, 2 language arts, 2 social studies, and 2 science for today, and you're going to do lesson 60 on Well-Trained Child, and 1 lesson for your math, page 70. And that's how I would plan it for her every single day. And then there would be days where she just would do online learning, and then there'd be days where she just do a whole bunch of book math, and then there'd be days where we just take off and go somewhere, for the day as a field trip, or we would watch a documentary together and talk about it. And so I would be more balanced in that approach, and that's for her 4th grade, that's exactly what I'm aiming to be, is more balanced, not just for her, but for also the kids that I'm teaching or helping homeschool for the New York process. I'm helping her, hold on, So yeah, so there was great balance. I was trying to create great balance um, between not only just doing online, but also doing this balance of doing online and books and field trips and documentaries. And I'm trying to combine a curriculum, a monster curriculum of things for fourth grade. That's my goal. Again, it's just like I've been learning through this. I'm not an expert at all. I think I talked a little bit about the New York experience. So moving to New York. So here's where we stand. We we're hoping to move to New Jersey in the next month or two. So right now we are temporarily in New York, but we're hoping to get an apartment in New Jersey. Apartment that is not too far from where we need to be in our lives, close to our church, close to Carrie's job, whatever. Like, it's just close and close to my job here. So we're hoping to leave to New Jersey. Now, New Jersey has its benefits with homeschooling. It's also a very green state. So think about Connecticut. It's kind of the same thing where it's a very low regulation. So I don't have to notify anybody that Riley is, actually I have to check on that. I may have to now since she's 9. That may be different. I don't know. That may be different. I probably have to do I could probably do a voluntary letter of intent stating that Riley is going to be undergoing home instruction. I probably can do that with her school district once I go to New Jersey. But anyways, here in New York, it's a high regulation state, so it's very red, but it's been a good experience. And like I was trying to, I think I said in another video that it took the people that we worked with, the Board of Education here, took a lot of the guesswork out of it, and they gave us exactly what we're supposed to do, and we passed everything, and we submitted things, and we got green light. We're fine. The kids that I'm doing right now, they're fine. Everything was done via email. The first initial thing, she walked down to the Board of Education and handed in the notice of withdrawal. She did all of that, but after that, mostly everything has been online, and it's been a positive experience. Sorry, did you hear? Is somebody yelling? This is all the time in New York. Anyway, so it was a really good experience, and I can talk a little bit more about that again, but I feel like I spoke about that before. And I don't want to bore you and repeat myself, but it hasn't been as crazy as I first thought it was going to be, and they have been very helpful and communicative and giving us what we needed, and I've been able to respond to them and email them, and we've gotten the green check, and we've been pretty good. Is somebody yelling? Anyway, so that's our journey. That is our journey, and that's the vision of where I would like to end up in August when we start back for Riley's 4th grade. And then for the other kids, one's going to be going into 3rd, one's going to be going into 5th, one's going to be going into 8th, and one's going to be going into 11. Help me. That's the vision of what I'm seeing for them going back into school, especially for the kids, because they haven't really experienced a whole lot of book work. They've experienced a lot of online work as they transitioned into school, which I get it. It was just a weird year, huh? Like, they're transitioning out of brick and mortar schools into homeschooling, and then I wasn't able to be here. I was still in Connecticut, and then coronavirus came, and we moved. I mean, there's been a lot going on, so it's been a difficult transition. It's been kind of weird, but hey, we're here now, and I'm hoping to correct some things and try to align some things better for me too in August. So that's it. Any questions, please let me know. I just would have been answering a couple of questions. People have been emailing me directly about homeschooling matters, and I'm by no means an expert, but I just have a little bit of experience now. And my biggest thing is to do what works for you. I think a definite balance works for me. I'm definitely more relaxed. But yeah, and some scheduling works for me too. So just do what works for you, man. Do what works for you. So that's it. I'm sorry this video was really long. Hopefully you had some water and some tea or coffee or whatever it is that you drink and you enjoyed it. And I know you love my background. Okay, bye.